This is Wandering Universe. Today, I'm going to be exploring another ruin that speaks volumes on ancient technology. So, let's go exploring. Yes, what you see in front of you is Earth. I should get $1 every time I say that word, and yet I've earned none. But that's okay, I'll find other investments and other income elsewhere, whilst I'm still working my 9-to-5 job. No, I'm not going to give it up just yet. Anyhow, what you see is what you get. You must be wondering, while you're sitting there numbing away, where we're going to go today. Well, I'll show you. Come with me. Come on board, come with me. Let's have a look. Okay. Let's have a look. Okay, so no, we're not going there today. Another time. Nope, we're not going to this part of the area. Another time. Okay, so here we go. Yes, we're going to South America. Arica. Okay. Yes, I know that's in Mexico. The good old Mexican festivities and dancing, but we're not going there today. And if you really want to learn more about Mexico, you can go to my Wandering Universe channel, and I've done a few videos. Well, actually I only did one video on Tiahuanaco pyramids in Mexico. Fascinating exploration, absolutely fascinating. There are some things about the area that's just going to blow your mind. Okay, so we're going to go a little bit further here. So here we go. Now, what part of South America are we going to explore today? Have a good guess. As you can see, lots of countries snuggled in one giant continent. To me, it looks like grapes, hanging from a vine. You might think it's a piece of schnitzel, I don't know, or it could be a tea-chop steak, who knows. But or it could be a chicken steak, I don't know, or a piece of fish, barramundi, who knows. Call it what you like, I don't care. Whatever metaphors you want to use, how to describe the continent of South America, how it looks, that is. So, we're going to go in. Where are we going today? Okay. Now, as you know, there are a lot of ancient ruins around this area, from the start of the Andes heading all the way down almost to the bottom half of Argentina. These ruins go along this coastline here. Now, as you can see, this coastline has an underwater landmass. Along this underwater landmass, there is a land bridge that connects to Easter Island. Now, I made a point of this in my Easter Island video. So if you want to get a preview on it, please go and check it out. Peru and Bolivia are really no different to each other, except in culture, but not in language. They both speak Spanish, Castellano Spanish. The Mexican have a slight dialect to it, but the people in Peru and the Bolivians, they speak Castellano. In fact, all over South America, they speak Castellano Spanish. If you don't know where Castellano Spanish originated from, you can look it up in Google, do a Google search. It actually comes from, I think, either a part of southern Spain or somewhere around that region. That's where it came from. And the Spaniards did their exploration / conquest to South America in search of gold, thanks to the mythical story of the land of gold, the city of gold in South America, about the pre-Columbian Inca people. So they've kind of got obsessed about that story in search of gold. Now, but that's for another video. So we're going to go in. Where are we going today? We're not going to Peru. We're going to, just take a look here. Okay, we're going to Bolivia. Now, where are we going today in Bolivia? Okay, we're going to go to the area in La Paz. So this is the La Paz area. This is like Titicaca. Nothing fetish about that. And this is the area we're going to explore today. It's called Tiwanaku, a tiny little rural township with only a few thousand people. This area is nestled around the Andes Mountains, and behind the glacial mountains you'll see green mountains, lush green mountains. So during the Ice Age, this area is the only part that got dried up. The rest is all nice and green, thanks to the melting of the ice. Lake Titicaca, like I said, nothing fetish, once was a very large lake during the last Ice Age, and the lake line here, the shoreline that you see here, stretched all the way out to the area of Tiwanaku and around La Paz area. Where are we going to go in this area today? Okay, I'll just show you. So here's Tiwanaku, this area here. Now what are we going to see in this area? It is said that there is an ancient ruin in Tiwanaku. There is, but there's actually two, believe it or not. So what are we going to see today? Yes, you guessed it. We're going to visit Puma Punku. Okay, now this is the small township right here. This is Tiwanaku site, and it faces diagonally towards Puma Punku right here. I'm going to explore this area in another video. It is fascinating to learn. There are some insightful clues there in its construction and design, and the architecture is just really out of this world in comparison to the Giza pyramids and other ancient ruins around the celestial equator. It does sit on the celestial equator, but I'll talk about that in a future video. Right now, let's have a look at Puma Punku. Okay, so now as you can see, I'll just go in a little bit closer. Okay, if you can see it there in front of you, all right. As you can see, it sits on a square mound. There's a partial wall fenced around it. The rest eroded away through time due to climate change and environmental factors that played a role. And as you can see, if you look here, this was part of a small township or city. I know what this is. I'll tell you about that in another video. But I'm not sure why there was a wall fenced around this area. Could be for a good reason, but I'll talk about that in another video. Surrounding this area, there are other ruins nearby Puna Punku, and I can show you some of them. Now, if you have a look, this area right here, where my arrow is circling, there is another ruin there. And as you can see, if you look closely, you can just barely see there are other unearthed ruins around this area. What does this tell you? It tells you that Puna Punku and Tiahuanaco, both ancient ruins, were once part of a very large city, bigger than today's township. And they haven't unearthed this area yet, but I can see that there's something buried beneath this green, lush landscape. Okay, so I'm going to talk a lot about Puna Punku, and to me, it's just an exciting place to just sink my teeth into and just really spend weeks, months exploring this incredible area. Until now, archaeologists, historians, and all these academic snoots still don't know why it was constructed, and they're still baffled about the construction date. I know there was carbon dating, don't nag me about it, I know. And it's still disputable. It's still up for public debate. However, I reckon this site is a lot older than what they told you. Otherwise, why would this area surrounded by the Andes Mountains is connected to Lake Titicaca. I'll say this again, I'll say it once more. Nothing fetish. Let's go in. You want a view? Yep, you're going to get a view. Let's go in. Let's take a good look. See if I can give you a view of Puma Punku. A nice 3D view. Turn it around. And there you have it. Enjoy. Alright, I'm going to leave it as it is, revolving around for your own viewing pleasure, so you can go ahead and examine it for yourself in your own time. So, we're going to explore the ancient ruins of Puma Punku. Enjoy. South America is sprawled of ancient ruins that sparsely span along the continent. Less than 1% has been archaeologically investigated. From within the midsection of the continent, 2 countries have unearthed ancient ruins: Peru and Bolivia. One ruin that has manifested innovative ancient advanced technology is the ruins at Puma Punku in Bolivia. It shares its border with Peru, separated by Lake Titicaca. Puma Punku is only a few hundred meters from another ancient ruin situated in Tiahuanaco. This area nests between rugged hills and nearby Andes Mountains. 45 miles or 72 kilometers from La Paz and 10 kilometers from Lake Titicaca. The glacial Andes Mountains peaks over the area, contouring a protective barrier. Behind it, evergreen mountain terrain that stretches for miles. Puma Punku is an open-air museum, an archaeological ruin that encompasses the Tiwanaku site. Puma Punku is perched on a large square mound with a partial stone wall enclosure. It is said, during the last ice age, this area once sustained life. Evidence of this is scars left by the raised sea level of Lake Titicaca. The water level rose and levelled off just below the bottom steps within the complex. What caught my attention about Puma Punku is that it looks like one giant jigsaw puzzle. Stone block pieces lying around waiting to be assembled. I mean, this site has really got my head spinning. How is it possible that it was left discarded without a second thought? Why is it so? These and many other questions will be answered as I go in search for answers to the mystery of this ruin. These abandoned stone blocks have been remarkably well preserved for thousands of years. Left forgotten in the sands of time before the migration of the Tiwanaku and Inca people. Evidence of discrepancies in design and construction methods used between both cultures is by comparison subpar. Their ancient primitive techniques is no match seen on most of the stone blocks. These stone blocks and walling show visible signs of erosion. Only a quarter of them are still left standing. This ruin faces diagonally to the Tiwanaku ruins outwards towards Lake Titicaca. Nothing fetish. Rio Chilla snakes along from across Tiwanaku and Puma Punku, reaching over to Lake Titicaca. The construction date remains unknown. Although Arthur Posanansky, a buddy entrepreneur who spent the good half of his life in Bolivia, reinvented himself as a self-taught archaeologist. For that, he explored the Tiwanaku ruins in 1926 by surveying its state of origin to be 13,000 BC. This has led to many future archaeologists to re-examine the timeline flaw in his evaluation. There is a ton of information online and well-documented TV shows about this area. But armchair archaeology isn't my forte. I need something that makes me want to go out there. So, I did some digging like any amateur online archaeologist, scouring for clues that outweighs conventional permitted theories. And I sure found some very impressive clues that will lead me to something far bigger than what you've been told. For now, while you're on your caffeine break, here is a small introduction by Brien Foerster.
Today we are at Puma Punku in the Altiplano of Bolivia once again, and the focus of this video is going to be on possibilities of catastrophic damage happening to this site in the very distant past. We're talking more than 12,000 years ago. It's likely that a lot of the damage to the site was done by an ancient cataclysm that came from Lake Titicaca, which is over on my left, and buried this site in a wall or a cascade of mud. And we're also going to be using Tesla meters in order to measure the andesite stone for possible magnetic anomalies. This is an excavation that was done, going down 2 to 3 feet, and all of these stones were found in place and in situ. So the question is, what would happen if they dug even deeper, which they so far have refused to do? This is one of the most intriguing stones at Puma Punku, and I'll film the actual stone afterwards. But what we're reading here, this is the base micro Tesla reading of 23 or 24. As I go in close to the stone, 27, 30, 39, so not much difference. Then it drops down to 17. As I turn the corner, 50, 65, and as I pass by the vertical cut, it's at 100. And then as I pass by that vertical slit, it immediately drops down to base. So this particular spot here is especially magnetic in alignment with the groove. So this is the perimeter of Puma Punku. And what you have is the first 4 levels are red sandstone. The quarry is 8 miles over those mountains. And the red sandstone does not react to the Tesla meter. But then the 5th level is the andesite, and it was going, or is going crazy with the Tesla meter on it. So it's almost like there may have been that the 5th level was like an energetic band that went all the way around the complex. That's news to me.
It
12,000 years ago, this bottom step was where Lake Titicaca rose up to. So is it possible that this ancient staircase, which is so heavily eroded, is in fact the staircase that led to Lake Titicaca, which is now 7 miles that way. You see, what you're looking at is red sandstone that's been made into a wall. But look at this stone here. This is the gray andesite, and look at how beautiful that surface is. The andesite is harder than the red sandstone. And there are indications that the work in andesite is actually much older. The reason why it's so pristine is because it's been buried underground for possibly thousands of years older than the official story of this site being 2,000 years.
This area has a very sad story to tell. I mean, just look at it. Left to rot without a cause. Trashed and tossed aside like it were garbage. Then fall prey to scavengers and squatters alike, hunting for worthwhile treasure to sell on the black market. Thankfully, some pieces are still left standing, whilst others have collapsed in a heap, leaving behind trivial clues that hints at unconventional design methods were applied. Puma Punku is a multiplex area of courtyards, a plaza, platforms, barriers, a sizable statue, faces, and a aesthetic gateway. The architectural layout has broadened its aesthetic design flow to other continents apart from its neighbouring site. It is believed to have been an urban trading centre that housed residential buildings equipped with irrigation systems beneath it. According to conventional theories, it once thrived as an agricultural hub that had a trading partnership all over Bolivia and Peru. The sheer size of the area covers 2 football fields. Filled with thousands of fallen T and H stone blocks scattered carelessly all over the land, with only a few still standing. The Tiwanaku and Inca people knew of a mythical story how Puma Punku was created. The word Puma means door of the Puma. The central figure acts like a weather god, with its powerful staffs seeding the clouds, bring forth rain, fertilizing the earth. Over the years, many orthodox results have posed questionable results over its construction. Some say it was the pre-Columbian people who had the know-how to put the whole thing together. And when that theory failed, they suddenly decided to say that it was the Tiwanaku people who built it at a moment's notice. Let's shove these establishment theories aside for a moment and check out these symmetrical beauties. The T and H stone blocks are made from 2 different types of stone, red sandstone and andesite. The nearest red sandstone quarry is 10 kilometres and the andesite quarry is 90 kilometres away. The small megalithic blocks stood upright, holding its weight above each one. Each stone block varies in weight from 140 to 800 tonnes. The largest was measured from 7.81 metres long by 5.17 metres wide by 1.07 metres thick, and the second largest is 7.9 metres long by 2.5 metres wide by 1.86 metres thick. Some of the fallen walls display hard thick stone, enough to break modern drills. Stone blocks like these readily come available. Even modern day stonemasons agree they are extremely difficult to replicate due to its cutting-edge techniques. Theories have aroused many conventional and alternative archaeologists, claiming these H blocks were prefabricated for mass production. According to Brien Foerster, no 2 are alike. Primitive tool markings would be present, logically determining human hands were at work. but there is none present. According to one archaeologist who did an experiment by rolling a ball along the surface steps adjacent to the standing H blocks. As it turned out, the surface was so smooth it rolled perfectly in one straight line, undisturbed. Drilled round and square holes, grooved lines, angled steps, smooth surfaces, T-cross markings, strange motifs, and many more unusual mouldings left behind, as if some unexpected horrific event bowled them over. Even keystone markings such as these speaks volumes on its ancient high technology. It's no wonder no one in the world of antiquities can put their finger on a precise construction date. Some of you may find Brien's videos a little bland to watch. Sure, he's not a totally fun, extroverted game show host type of guy, and don't expect him to host one anytime soon. And no, he's not pretending to be Indiana Jones. But his bouncy personality got me watching one interesting video. He showed drilled holes spaced evenly with precision along a groove line. Watch.
We also took calipers here, and these holes, which are all the same diameter, are perfectly spaced. And this groove is perfectly aligned to the edge of this surface going down. And the flatness is believed by some who have measured it to possibly be within 2/10,000ths of an inch of being laser perfect. Well, the thing that Chris Dunn pointed out is that, what they would do, or assuming they use technology like what we have, you can't say that they did, but what he said is they had to, in order to produce multiple flat surfaces, this is perfectly 90-degree angle, you have to have a flat surface. So if they produce this as the flat surface, then this lies down, because that is your gauge of where you start your work. And then from there, then what I'm going to do is take this thing and then measure the distance at the top and see how consistent it is from top to bottom. I just want to show this though, because this is set at the distance to the outer part of this channel groove, and as we go down and down and down, it's really quite consistent. It might vary by a millimeter, but that's about it. All the way down to the bottom part. So human eyes and human hands can't do that.
Want to get that photograph?
Yeah, I'd like to get it.
Yeah.
And just,
Is it varying that much?
No, it's not varying by even a millimeter, I don't
Dr.
think. Dr. Shock's gonna see what he thinks.
Yeah, it's pretty consistent. No, it's not. It's very consistent. And then the Space Jam these is what I'm interested in. So here's the real test. They're using metric system. No. About 3.5 between them.
Started it on two different holes. Yeah, that's bang on.
Okay, can you just go down the series?
Yeah, that's bang on.
So they are.
That was the mistake I made.
Okay.
Brick, Jesus. Look at that. That's crazy.
That's great.
That is crazy.
So what's the distance?
I don't know. Probably some sacred distance.
Is that metric?
It's got both.
Oh, good. Okay.
Wow. That is off the scale.
So what do we have?
It's 31 let's see, 32.5 millimeters.
Okay. And in
32.5.
Geez, the 1 inch, a quarter, let's see, 16th, let's see, 4 or 5/16, 1 inch and 5/16.
So, are you still buying conventional primitive timelines, whatever that means, to pre-Columbian period? The Tiahuanaco and Inca people weren't meticulous geometric engineers. Yes, I know, I should get $1 every time I say those words. But let's take a pause and consider this. The Tiwanaku people knew of a legend. Beings from another world with supernatural powers had the ability to move and carry these H and T stone blocks without lifting a finger. If that were true, then it's unlikely human hands were in possession of ancient high technology. Until now, there is no evidence of any primitive tools like hammers, chisels, ropes, pulleys, wooden cranes, sleds, boats, ramps had left its markings behind. And the tale of a massive, well-underpaid human workforce is a myth. So why are these docile snoots still hanging on to human handiwork when there is significant comparison shown between ours and theirs? These stone blocks, shown by Brien Foerster, demonstrates a human attempt at matching the precise engineering of a stone block. This confirms that identifying the creators through conventional theory is out the window. One suggestion is the sculptured human-like faces inserted along the Calisaya wall in Tiwanaku. Humanoids of unknown origin as a telltale sign they were the master builders behind this unique construction. Like a photograph, they proudly jut their heads as some kind of tribute wall, acknowledging their accomplishment. If these H blocks were achieved by humans, then tool markings would be present. But the markings of one stone block shows upside down blind holes, whilst the finished blocks have blind holes that slots a tiny T-cramp socket when slotted with others. This would indicate that these huge stone blocks were stacked on top of one another, not horizontally, but vertically precise. Why were they moulded to the letter H? These blocks are not unique to this mould technique. In Sudan, a pyramid reconstruction exhibits H-style gates to be the main entrance of the pyramid. So, is this whetting your appetite for more? Unfortunately, looting and dodgy excavations have damaged the ruins over the centuries. Artifacts like jewelry, ornaments, metals, bright pot shards were taken and sold on the black market. So what you see today is only 10% of what's left. The rest were used to build a nearby small town. But this is not the end of the story. Rumour has it that there is not one, but several subterranean tunnels beneath the site. Puma Punku is the forerunner for the unique design concept franchised across many continents along the celestial equator. It has ignited our imagination, yearning to comprehend its unusual architecture, long forgotten before our arrival. Archaeologists and historians alike have qualms over its date of origin, with mounting evidence to link its origins towards other beings, manifested their creation using ancient high technology. Technology incomparable to modern machines and techniques that don't come close to engineering its absolute precision. Whoever they were certainly possessed the gold standard in geometric engineering. If an environmental catastrophe nullified the entire area after the last ice age, nature was likely to be the probable cause. Smothering evidence of brought-over technology laid buried deep into the ground. The Tiwanaku and Inca people, through their nomadic lineage, who had found the abandoned ruin, never possessed geometric quantum technology experience for this kind of massive undertaking. By no means necessary was its creation connected to deity worship, magically brought forth the shortcomings of rain. This complex retains incredible advanced knowledge as key to its extravagant workmanship, along with its buried secrets, remain an explorer's wonderland that was ahead of its time. Stay tuned for more juicy discoveries in future videos. What I've uncovered is just the tip of the iceberg. In the next video, I'll be exploring a ruin situated not on land, but underwater. And nope, it's not in Egypt, it's somewhere else. That's all for now.